Okay, today we're looking at the new radio by President. This is the JFK. This is an AM/FM CB radio. It's got the weather band and all that good stuff. So it's a really nice looking radio from everything I've seen. Some of the stuff that it has and everything. I'm not going to do a real detailed video on it, but I will hook it up and just kind of show before and after. And then you can decide if you wanted to buy one of these, say from me, my company, whether or not you think it's worth paying a little extra money or whatever to adjust the radio, or if you think it's good enough just the way it is. So if the consensus is that it's good enough the way it is, then most likely with radios like this, they would probably just get drop ship right from supplier to customer. But if somebody wanted to, you know, have that opportunity to have it adjusted a little bit, then by all means, yeah. And it's not going to be a huge charge or anything like that, but there is, you know, a little extra cost involved in purchasing the radio. No, I think these are like, I think they're like mid $100 range priced radio, so it's not a super expensive radio. And I'm hoping that, you know, the receive is really quiet and enjoyable, because they've said that this is marketed towards the truck driver. So I'm assuming that if you're going to market it towards a truck driver, you have to have a good quiet receiver, because a lot of trucks are very noisy, because they have a lot of control modules and computers and all that stuff. So I don't know, we'll find that out later. I'm probably going to put this one in my car mobile and just have a go with it and see how it does. And then most likely, unless I fall in love with it, I'll probably offer it used on the website. So I don't have any more of these right now or anything like that. I'll wait for suppliers to get a good stock of them, and then I'll list them on my site probably as a drop ship, or, you know, there'll be an option to add the service to it, and then I just have one sent here and take care of it and send it out. So let's get it out and just take a quick peek. Okay, so you're going to get all the usual things. You got your microphone. It's basically just the same mic as all of them. It's this mic, so I'm going to leave that mic brand new. And you got a bracket and a power cord. So this does have the 3-prong power cord. It doesn't have a little cord sticking out the back or anything like that. It looks to be the size of the McKinley, I think. So let me grab my McKinley and we'll take a comparison. Okay, so it actually is a little bit bigger than a President McKinley, but not by much. So actually, let's put these right side up so we can take a quick peek. Very similar though. So as you can see, there's a little bit. So I would not say that this is a DIN-sized radio. Now this is, but as you can see, it's a little bit bigger and longer on the back. It has a heat sink on it, but it looks similar. The back is a little bit different. We haven't seen one that kind of looks like this before. You know, I'm wondering maybe if this might be the size of the Richard. Now I don't have one of those handy to grab, but it's going to be bigger than a McKinley. So we'll put that out there for those that might want to know. I'm not going to give you all the dimensions and everything. You can look that information up on President's website. They're really good about that. You can download the manual and all that stuff. But let's just get this thing hooked up and have a quick output check and see how it's working. Okay, so the first thing I notice is it's got a ginormous display. So for the guys that say, oh, I don't like a radio with a digital display because I can't see it, well, you can see this one. So very large display, that's for sure. Let's plug a microphone in and let's just go right for the gusto here. So I don't know, actually let's go into our menu first and just have a quick peek. So probably should look at the book, but we're just going to try to wing it here and see if we can't figure out where's the menu on this thing. So let's see if we hold. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at the book. Okay, so we're not gonna look at the book. I'm just gonna wing it. Let's see if we can't just maybe hold this in. No, I didn't want to really put that into a memory, but Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at the book. They make these things a little more complicated now with all these. There's like 3 or 4 things going on each button. All right, so you press the F key, then you hold the F key, and then I'm assuming we can toggle maybe. Oops. So you press it and hold it, and I'm not sure how we would toggle this stuff. We'll have to get to that bridge here in a minute, so I'm just trying to learn the radio as we go. Okay, so to select the option, you press the emergency key, so you have all these colors just like all the other radios do. I'm going to leave it in green, I'm sorry, orange. I like the orange. Dimmer, contrast, RX NRC, Roger beep, key beep. I'll leave that on for the time being. Is there a mic gain on this? What does that do? Oh, that's the light on the speaker. So you can't switch that off, I guess, if you wanted to. When you modulate or a receive signal comes in, I believe it will show you a display, almost like an equalizer. So there's got to be a mic gain on this, I would assume. Let me dig back into the menu, or into the manual. Okay, so I don't think the radio has a mic gain. That's okay. We'll just go right into the test now. So there's our frequency. So that's good. There is a way to adjust it. There is a service mode. I'm not going to show that, but there is a service mode. So okay, so it's keying under 4 watts, which is, I guess, normal. And then with peak envelope power, we can see it depends, but you know, between 8, 9, 10, sometimes like that, sometimes a little bit more. What I do like is this is a really cool looking radio, how when you're transmitting like that, the speaker is lighting up. That looks really good. You also have a pretty nice SRF meter on the right hand side, which looks really good too. So this is a really nice feature that I like. I think it's pretty cool looking, that you almost have like it's almost like an equalizer or something that you're seeing as you modulate. So obviously maybe we can turn up the audio a little bit in the service mode. I'm not sure how much more it'll go, but we'll cross that bridge later. I don't think there's an adjustable RF power either, so that's going to be something we have to set in the menu, in the service menu. So you know, if you wanted it, like say you wanted your FM and AM, probably more your AM in the US, but you would have to set that in the service mode for like 2 watts. I don't see anything about RF power either, so I don't believe there's an adjustable RF power. Let's just go to F. Actually, we'll stay in AM. I'll hook the test equipment up. We'll just take a quick peek at how it's looking. Okay, so there it is on the test equipment. So it has about almost 11 watts of peak envelope power. Modulation percentage is kind of low. It's only 85%. That's kind of normal out of the box radio. So it's super clean. You know, this thing is obviously within the way within the spec that would be required for a CB radio in the United States. So no problems there to speak of. So we put this radio now in FM mode. We just want to see what kind of deviation level it has, which I'm assuming it's going to be well under 2, probably like 1.7, 1.8, something like that. I can only assume, so I'll come back and show that. And again, on FM, it's about 3.6 watts, so obviously we could turn that up probably 4 watts easy if you wanted to. Here is our deviation. See, it's about 1.8, which is obviously where they want it, under 2, because that's the limit for a CB radio, so that's okay. But I can turn that up a little bit and hopefully get it closer to 2 or maybe slightly over. I don't know what the parameter will be. Again, we have a nice looking digital display there. I believe on the receive side it's also going to show that, so let's just, while we're here, we'll test the receiver. Okay, I would say that the S meter is reading a little low. Should be around S9. Let's see. Yeah, it should be around S9 there, and it's about S7. So I would say that's reading a little low, but as you can see, you have an incoming display on the speaker when you have a transmission coming in. So let's just see what kind of sensitivity this radio has. Let me go back here and just make sure I have the modulation in the right setting. I want 30%, not 100 for this test. So there we go. We're over modulating it. So with 30%, it is reading correct. So that was my mistake. So obviously, don't over modulate with your signal generator, and you won't get front end overload. I think that's what was happening. So with 30% mod, we clearly have S9, which is what we should have. So all right, let's see where this is going to fall into place here. So this radio is showing about minus 109 on AM, which is pretty good. So remember, I have 20 dB attenuator here, so minus 109 and 12 dB. So that's not too bad, you know, not too bad at all. You're definitely going to hear what's out there. So now I'm going to go into the radio, and I'm going to set it up a little bit different. I'm going to see what it'll let me do. I'm going to shoot for like 2 watts AM, FM, because I really only care about AM on this. You know, this actually kind of reminds me of the bill a little bit, how this display looks. I almost thought, as you saw me touch it, I almost thought you could touch it and change the channel. You know, on the bill, how you can touch it but up and down. It kind of looks like that in a lot of ways. I do like the look of it, though. It looks really nice. So I'll come back and kind of show what I've done. Okay, so we're back on the JFK III. I believe this is the JFK III. Yes, it is. So what I've learned is the radio basically will go to about 3.89, 3.85 watts all the way up. It won't actually hit 4 watts, at least not on my test equipment. So not really a big deal. I would never really run this radio at 4 watts personally. But I did set it for 2.5 watts, so it'll do 2.5 watts AM FM, and it'll swing accordingly on AM. Now on FM, it's going to stay at 2.5 watts. So you know, if you use this radio on FM, then that's the choice you have to make. If you want it at 4 watts, then you can set it at 4 watts, pretty much out of the box. Leave it stopped. So what I found on the deviation on FM is you can take it from like 1.8 kilohertz up to about 2.2. Is that going to sound a little bit louder? Yeah, maybe, but not the end of the world. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind. On AM, we went from about 85% modulation up to about 93% modulation with the test tone. So that was a little bit of an improvement, but that's about as much as you can go. And I did check it at 4 watts or the 3.8 whatever watts, and it really didn't make much more of a difference there. So this is going to be a super clean radio, like most of these type accepted radios are. So that's something to keep in mind too. And you know, again, the radio does look really good. So we'll just quickly take a look at it. So you can see that your modulation is very, very clean. You don't see a lot of aggression on the spectrum analyzer. But what you will get is a good power transfer on the frequency. So these radios will never really bleed anybody over. I mean, unless somebody's right on top of you, you're not going to bleed anybody over with this radio. So from the 2.5 watts or whatever, you can see kind of what the power meter is reflecting. So at times we are getting a good, sometimes over 4 times the carrier, and then other times not so much. So it's just kind of what it is. This is kind of like a very minor adjustment to this radio. And to be honest, if I did have these in stock, which most likely I won't stock them because I haven't done well in past history with AM FM only radios of this caliber. But if somebody wants one, basically the fee would be you send it to me, and the fee is just to cover the shipping here. That's all it would be. I wouldn't charge you to set it up based on what I'm seeing, but since I wouldn't be stocking it and it would be kind of like a drop shipment thing, the charge that I would charge would be for it coming here and then charge for it coming back. So that's basically what that would be. I don't think in most practical reasons for anybody really to want to really adjust this, because it's not really benefiting a whole lot from it. what you're going to get out of the box is probably good enough for this radio, and that's just what I'm seeing here. So the only reason you might want to take it down like I did is maybe to run something else with it, and that'd be the only reason. So that's pretty much it. Try to put it on my antenna really quick, and we'll just have a peek on the receiver and just kind of see how it's looking there. But it does have weather, so I'd like to see how the weather band works too. What's your 20 there, driver?
I'm just cruising southbound 475 exit 2.
Oh, 10-4, yeah, I'm over here by the 75-23 split. Yeah, it's pretty cool anyways. It's got a decent receive on it. You can really hear the A&L when you click it off. Hear that? The A&L makes a huge difference. And you have a high cut too if you hold it down. There's an NRC, but I'm not gonna demonstrate the NRC. Everybody knows what NRC is, so I will leave that be. It's not a whole lot really going on today on the CB radio band. It's been pretty quiet out lately. Emergency channels, all the usual stuff a CB would have. If that does bother somebody, you can shut that off. I think it's cool. It wouldn't bother me in the slightest, but maybe in darkness in a vehicle or something, it could cause a little bit of confusion if you weren't used to it, with the light flashing and flickering. But yeah, I wish I could show you guys more on the receive side. I could show you the weather band. Hold the button down. There's the weather band.
Partly cloudy. Highs are mid-70s. Friday night, mostly clear. Lows around 50. Saturday, partly
Pretty
cloudy.
decent weather these days. So like I said, I will run this in the car for a little bit, see how it does, how it handles automobiles, driving around and stuff around the vehicle, noise from my own vehicle, and whatever have you, and then we'll just take a look at that. I guess I can show the inside of it too for those that might want to see that. So we'll quickly pop the lid off of it and see if there's anything to see, which I don't think there will be. Alright, so keep in mind this is a US radio. When it says that, you will not get extra frequencies on these radios. So for the people that might ask, it's not going to happen. They definitely won't allow that to happen on these kind of radios. So if you are the type of person that isn't satisfied with just 40 channels, then you're going to have to get the UK European model, because most likely what you see here on that model will have something to do where it says ground or GND or whatever. I'm sure that probably has something to do with giving you other options, but on this radio it's not going to happen. So as far as that goes, you have the 40 channels and that's all you have. Looks like a nice board, everything's shielded properly, and looks like it was originally designed back around New Year's of 24. So a lot of times before radios even get to the US, they've already been made and planned out ahead of time. So what is it now, September? That tells you how far behind everything is. Some very interesting capacitors are used in this radio. You can see there, I haven't seen ones quite like those before. Definitely different than your standard run-of-the-mill. So but as far as that goes, I mean, there's not a whole lot really to show in here. You have a nice huge shielded compartment here, so not really sure if that's to help maybe for noise filtering or something. You have a big AM regulator, so I'm sure you guys that will do your swing mods and stuff to them will probably be able to figure out some way to do a swing mod to this if that's something that guys are into. You won't get that here, but you know, there's a will, there's a way with people to do these mods, swing mods and stuff. So there's your AM regulator, and a lot of guys put the diode and resistor in series there, and they get their swing mod, RMS mod, whatever you want to call it. So probably there's a way to do it, but I'm not going to experiment with stuff like that because there's better radios out there on the market for more power, more modulation, the whole 9 yards. There's no reason to potentially damage a radio like this to try to do that. So that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot to see here. There are a few populated components on the top side of the board though, which are interesting. It does appear that the board has a slot for another final. Most likely that's not going to be anything that you would benefit from by putting a final on this radio and trying to incorporate it to actually work. But for those that would say, well, there's an empty bank there for a final, so what, you're going to make this do like 20 watts instead of what it's doing? It's not going to give you enough gain. Now, that being said, there could be a 10 meter version, which is just something I've been thinking about as I look at this radio. And who knows, that could be that radio could have another final here. And they could change this maybe as well. Maybe it could have 2 more finals. And we could see a higher powered version of the same similar chassis here with more heat sink. I don't know how they would incorporate more heat sink, but I think they could figure out a way. But I know nothing about that. I'm not told anything until I'm told. So this is the JFK III. What do you think of it? And you know, we'll just leave it up to the radio guys of the world in America what they think of it and if it'll do well for them or if it won't. I will run it in the car and I'll do a quick video later just to talk about what I found in the car, and then I'll most likely just offer this one up for sale because it's not really something that I would want to keep for myself. But I did buy this. This was not a free radio or anything like that. 73.